Make sure you send me a copy of
Alright. I want to thank Reg for letting me use the place, all you cats for coming. I'm just going to kick into it. This poem's called Beach Whales 2. Aboard that packed subway train at rush hour, I was the very portrait of dissociative calm. But on the inside, I cried, "It's raining people holding umbrellas outside in my multiple summers of drought. Hasta la Victoria siempre. Hasta la Victoria siempre. Hasta la Victoria siempre," which when translated into English means keep fighting until victory, always, or forever until victory. Don't let the balloons fly away. Ladies, who used to be elegant sirs of the Bastille jury, farmers of the ocean, I know no notion, no thelemic witch concocted potion that can help you answer the essential questions. Where did we come from? Why are we here? What is life? What is reality? What is normal? Who created God? Where does all of this shit we recycle off of our computers go? I've given up trying to figure them out myself. I don't want to know. Scorched earth, frozen sea, smashing glassy water, 3 large planets are orbiting your dwarf star. The closets are ajar, and so are the doors. The media-created monsters are on the loose. The baby molar tooth of a recently discovered hominid, the little white fragment of a hand bone, sickened by the slaughter. A wealth of onions brings a poverty of dry tears to our eclectic eyes. I close those coal-accented eyes in the void, and I see a smelly sound. I close those coal-accented eyes, and I see blue. I look at J plus Sarah, 98 equals forever, scrawled into this bus shelter on this rainy day, and I wonder if the mysterious couple who wrote it are still together somewhere, transcending the 5 elements, mining the turquoise, raising the non-existent children of an over-party, plotting to do the various things that make grown men cry. I attempt. I try to gaze at everything in an ecstatic state of complete reverence. There are spies, mosquitoes, hyenas, tipsters, and flies everywhere around us, false camaraderie, and a billion invisible frequencies surround us. Everything in existence is a wonderful work of art, created by someone. But I genuinely can't fathom who, nor can anyone else really. Somewhere a Sith is being sharpened, somewhere someone sporting your thick Christmas sweater on a summer beach sounding the tocsin, while everyone else is listening to the silence. Non-violence erupts in the fossilized forest, where children's imaginary friends go to die, black smoke billowing from the depths of your cluster-bomb buildings, polluting my extravagant sky. Your hoary hands are now in someone else's empty pockets, bitch. My wallet's still unmoneyed. It can't salmon anyone else's. Shallow sea. The steps are steep. The Prime Minister's teleprompter is messing up. Your iPhones and Blackberries are mercifully melting in the fire. I've seen what's under the kilt. I've seen what's under the kilt. The fruit of the people's sweat and toil is being squandered. I was born in a graveyard. And I'm going to get buried in your hospital. Celebrities are their new deities. All order has been vanquished. All the rules have previously been broken. Angela, can you think of anything else left for us to break? Our colony of cats is going to the dogs. Anubis is beckoning us to follow his lead. Oh, to carnage. Oh, the excitement of the way of extremes, the now barren in our incomprehensible lives, shall one day become prosperous. Israeli warplanes shower me and my anti-heroic people with white phosphorus. And now I smell like Chinatown when Harry doesn't get his laundry. Part 2.
Oh.
Part 2. Aboard that packed subway train at rush hour, her face betrayed not one single emotion, but in her 4D printed head, She said, a hang glider got struck by a streaking meteorite on the morning after the night before I met you. On the morning after the night before I met you, I was spiritually conjoined to a Chinese boy whose eyes were gouged out by his beloved aunt. I was altered forever just before I met you, baptized anew, altered forever by the intuitive hunch that I would find you, doggy paddling in the scarred in every way by me sky of skulls, smuggling unwanted vegetation to those of us living in blazing sweatshops transfigured into a lone ziggurat of melting ice, yelling, come and take a lick of one of our cones. Come, let us march against the powers of heaven and set black streamers in the firmament to signify the slaughter of the gods. Come strum your acoustic weapons all over our electric country. This music makes our legs feel like a field of wheat. But a disfigured World War IV veteran and an underappreciated woman discover true love, beauty, and a magical transformation after moving into a small cabin on my sprawling estate. But the pixelated pictures on your laptop screen, the earthling outside reality, the man who fell to earth, counting stars, altered forever by a replenishing infection that hospitalized a glamorously destitute couple, snowshoeing across the prairies in the late summer with a blissful, socially unorthodox, hypersensitive wastrel with a fascinating personality on the morning after the night before I met you. On the morning after the night before I met you, Crazy Horse's warriors fought his last major battle at Wolf Mountain. A bank robbery suspect was captured after he posted a picture of himself holding a Star Trek Klingon sword and a submachine gun on Instagram before pulling a Violet Hutton. The RCMP was probing serious new allegations of illegal lobbying by a former advisor to the Canadian Prime Minister. Roaming gangs of Chihuahuas were terrorizing the streets in Arizona. 20 people were stabbed at a high school and squeezed by the worst ever drought in the state's history. California was dying of thirst and a timid spermatozoid was nervously awaiting ejaculation. A stupid bitch more useless than parents who can't cook was arrested in Texas for dialing 911 repeatedly because she ran out of cigarette. Wednesday's unofficial Pick 6 lottery numbers were 24, 12, 6, and the sea lion that befriended a rustic youth with Asperger's syndrome was happier than overprotective Russian, Italian, Arabic, Irish, Scottish, and Zionist fathers finding out that their favorite, most doted upon daughter is marrying some African Canadian or mulatto dude, interrogating Socrates beyond our solar system, probing the furthest reaches of interior space, when my Mustangs almost got turned into dog food. On the morning after the night, on the morning after the night before I met you. Holy whoa! Scenes of devastation behind me. I might as well read my most personal poem. You know, if it wasn't for cats like Dave or Mark here or Reg back there, I probably wouldn't be able to, I sprinted into something that I'm only crawling out of now. So I'll let this poem speak for itself. It's called E True Lakeshore Story. So, intimate portrait of where I was at that point in my life. You are the quintessential symbol of modern times and society to me. What has occurred in you, dear comrade, is transpiring in our world. I saw you, hunched over, strung out, sitting temporarily defeated on that curb in front of the laundromat, staring off into the ether with that unseeing 10,000-yard stare that I myself know well. In the early Toronto afternoon, your glassy eyes all teary, your glassy eyes that are heartbreakingly blue, that had somehow managed to maintain the childlike innocence that the rest of your being visibly could not. As I made my approach, I thought to myself, I shall lift this fallen woman. I shall ennoble her. Only I can teach her about the virgin soil epidemic and the cruise ship disasters. Nobody else can help her. Her friends and family are more fucked up than she is. Is degenerate drug addiction hereditary? Is she gonna spend galling me into the exact same thing that she will one day condemn me for? Is the party really over? Because this is only the beginning of the drought. Doomed salvation. Beached whales? Her overwhelming presence will eclipse everything else except poetry from my distracted view. Every afternoon I spend with this broad will be like Christmas morning, and every night will be the dawning of a new year, even though 15 years or so have passed since I last heard Callie sing her sighs to the falling leaves of a bird-crowned tree. 15 years or so since she and me have saw each other last. I can't ignore her. I shall restore her beyond her prior magnificence. With the raised arms of the Caryatid, I will elevate her past her former glory. And if I fail in this ridiculous, fucked up quest, I will let her drag me down into her own personal Hades, where we'll live our sodden lives in technicolor, and rob her vampiric dealer pimp's house, and then shoot our way to the top of Bop City, and then hand in hand, we'll ruthlessly trod a self-destructive path that even the most depraved of junkies would have thought impossible to have trodden. How poetic, how triumphant, how gnarly, chaotic, frightening. And like the Twilight Zone would all of that be. I will be the decaying victim of a mafia hit, and she will be the hitman's Cadillac trunk. For some reason I pictured you and me, stranded on that slow boat to China, lost at sea. When I introduced myself, you turned around, suspiciously, but when you realized who it was, you looked up glowingly at me, the seediest of smiles, and I noticed scabby, needle-marked chest and arms. I saw brown-black teeth, one of the front ones missing. I noticed that your partially scratched off nail polish was metallic blue. I observed the garbage-littered grass of the park, invertebrate thugs, joggers, cars, and injured rare legs, bikes, grinders, families. The outside air reeked of a dolphin stampede. I recognized, I noticed like I did when I was an untarnished kid, the innumerable shapes of the cirrus clouds and the splintered coffin of that reprehensible sky. Pathetically out of shot, dear comrade, I could hardly look you in the eye. I was too spooked. I falsely realized whom I to save anyone, especially you. I ain't no catch myself. The handsome face of that introverted boy you once knew and admired has hardened into that of an ugly man. Plus, I'm balls deep in the syphilic cunt of life too. Only I'm not lodged up in it, as nastily as you. I don't drive or own a car. I can't take you to the drive-in or lover's lane. Although, if you're fixed up just a little bit, I definitely want to. Dear comrade, smash Wolf Swan's ever written, Ghost Letter Chance is a pitchfork genius. I won't ever possess a paper fool's gold to help you whiten the teeth that the chain smoke of cigarettes, heroin, speed, and crack have now turned brownish black. I can apply lotion to your sunburnt soul, the biker gang fugitive arrested for funeral slangs, and the motion of matter has scattered us into a different pattern. You are the absent mother of three. I can't abduct you from your old Meccan scene. I can see an ancient, orgasming woman dying whilst lavishing birth into an invisible, unfathomable, electronic force gorging itself upon the collected energy of every city's synthetic brain. My luxurious bed is somebody else's fucking couch. And regrettably, there's not room for two. Sometimes there's bugs on the floor. A while ago, after I renounced dealing the goods, I took a vow of voluntary poverty. I'm not interested in money. I just want to be wonderful. Marilyn Monroe once said something like that, dear comrade, and now I'm sharing it with you. Although I have only the slightest idea why, there were 2 million things I could have done with you, but shamefully, out of my former cowardice, I did not one. Your dealer/pimp and his microbes were waiting for you across the street, and you appeared to be itching to rendezvous with them, I think. And my dad was going to be arriving soon. So I let you go, whistling autumn leaves and mine hair. Last I heard, one of your Johns smashed a glass bottle in your once stunning face. Melted candle, answered prayer, cruel fate. Before we parted ways, you unspokenly said the following words that will always haunt me. You telepathically hissed them at me as if you were a dragon. You hissed the following haunting words at me as if you were the Lady Pendragon in the Diary of a Drunk Thief by Aleister Crowley. You hissed, if our short lives are only supposed to be a dream, Stedmond, I wish someone would wake me up. If my life is supposed to be a vicious, sweet, snuff film being screened in some divine theater, in which the only Warholian star is me, then tell the indifferent powers that be to please turn off the projector. I'll read a different kind of love poem. This is a ode to Liza Minnelli. I wrote after seeing Cabaret on TV. I spray paint your image on the graffiti muraled walls between Dundas West and Keele subway stations as a red-headed beggar girl crawling towards me on your knees against the backdrop of the copper metal chasm. With my black eyeliner, I draw you as a crude stick figure on the smudged up mirror of a filthy public washroom. I finger paint you as a forbidden modern primitive, wintering a tropical soundscape on my heart. I scribble you in gold and silver and violet crayon on a pink piece of construction paper and magnet it on my parents' refrigerator and wonder if they really like it. There is no chosen race in nature. The droppings of last week's trip out are still scattered upon our floor. You stand, sandwiched alone here, whole, in a divided kingdom between heaven and earth, death and rebirth, ready to flee away from me with Shelley's west wind. You stand, hands on hips, knowing that the elements of modern society, destructive of the best qualities of human nature, have been laid out mercilessly for our insatiable eyes countless times. You stand, knowing that the wise words of the greatest souls who have passed through this terrifying place have fallen upon deaf ears. You stand for 30 years, where only the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee. All the infinite beasts of the Pharaoh fields yield to ye. She of the serpent-woven skirt, your tattered robe is my whole fucking world. And I'm dying to see you shake it off. You are something that words could only character and diminish. I can't help but masturbate, watching you make love to life. I look at you, young Liza Minnelli, and I see my destiny, my future. I think you're my destiny, my future. I think you're the lone star and doomed salvation, the aromatic essence of green blood, red people smell when dead, birds start falling from the sky, the incommunicable pain, soothing transcendent bliss, the attack of the hunchback creep, the random attack of the nit-picking couch potatoes, the attack of the self-injurers, the attack of the bull dyke lesbians kissing at picnic tables to the ills of spectators gathered, which may or may not include me, massacre of liberty, and children's toys. Let's impregnate the distorted music of complete silence with a single collaborative word. Let us go where the omens of the gods and the crimes of our enemies summon us. The die is now cast. Let's solve the mystery of the leaping fish with that fiend. Coke any day. Let's defile our chapped lips with the cold soul of a defenseless creature. Let's commit harakiri and do a heart crane. A timid painter's aggressive brushstrokes. Interesting eccentrics from whom you can't remove your eyes. Looky here, Liza. I'm just a really lost guy, stuck between the beginning and the end of a highly flammable good time. I'm just a melancholy star dancing across the sky of your new hotel room. The forsaken herald's radiant cry. I'm just the moody daughter of promiscuous intimacies and retro charm. I'm telling you about myself. Are you listening? I enjoy lawlessness, earthquakes, boneless bodies, ketamine, marijuana Kleenex, majestic performers self-destructing on the stage like me, and bulging brides crueler than some asshole kicking a pregnant, five-bodied dog, unveiled monuments, and widespread disease. I feel that nothing could culminate in great tribulations. We are only now in the genesis of our unrequited love. I can't wait until we hit the book of Revelation. My father never gave up on a fig tree. Nude and glorious Hitlers, I came to you in search of the perfect winter boot, but found instead a summer sandal. I came to unannounce Jehovah's kingdom. Wilt thou help me? You see how I now can bring the poem back from its unrestless wanderings to exactly where it's supposed to be? Everything is moving in stop motion. You have no fucking equal. To you, dear girl, there could never be a sequel. Our smoldering fire could ne'er cool to a fine ash. Ruthless tyrant, the very ideas of what it once meant to be women and men have been dramatically altered. What it means to be a human being is next. Would it be permissible for this miseducated alien to try your truth and beauty pill? Old age is savagely beating our fleeting beauty and youth to a bloody pulp. So we must make haste, because we're all innocent little children, infested with microscopic bugs, being molested by the perverted hands of time. Thank you. This next section, I'm going to pay tribute to some of my fallen heroes and take off these fucking glasses. I think I'll start with a poem that's Nick B. He's the cat who gave me my start in performing. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have been doing any of this. So this is a poem called I Shared You. I shared you, always I shared. I never had you alone. I shared you with a bottle of bourbon. I shared you with the acid you dropped nightly. I shared you with the magic mushrooms you swallowed. These drugs and visions and all, I shared you with the hipsterish hangers-on in your kitchen, the spirits of Hollywood paparazzi that stalked you, the fanatic fans, lovers, mothers that wanted you always to be the fucked up star. Shared you with the emotional cul-de-sac of a grandmama who never listened. I shared you with the fears of a child who was once abandoned in a snowstorm. I shared you. Always I shared. I shared you with the 1001 phantoms of your suspicions. I shared you with a bite in the face by a fake vampire who turned out to be real, who tore away the last remnants of your trust in me, the horrible memories of the past, presents, and to Cumsville, the attack of schoolmates of long ago, white complexioned pale-faced devils like me. I shared you with the river Styx, from which you drank almost nightly, too forgetful to the brim, to block out the air raid of 1,000 bombs dropped nightly on your brain. I shared you with the unholy trinity of girlfriends that preyed on you and on me. I shared you, baby, with the rolling rock that balled into my brain, almost wiping out my existence, as you danced in front of what used to be me. For you, I shared you with your Mrs. Hyde, who regarded me with a dark-eyed demeanor. I shared you with my Mr. Hyde, his desires, his designs, always. I shared you with someone, something, somewhere. I shared you with a dozen black angels dancing on the head of your pen, I shared you with the fear that wore a low-cut red dress to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. I never had you alone. Next poem by Gwendolyn McEwen, one of my favorite female Canadian poets. She drank herself to a lonely death on these Annex streets, you know, lamenting that Toronto would be driving the artists out, and this was in the fucking like late 80s, I think she died, so this is it. I never wrote from pain before, but then I saw the night ship, starship of your longing years leave this world, and all its fuel was made of my tears. I never wrote from here before, but then I laid my head in the hollow of your flesh and heard unborn cities speaking, generations speaking, signaling from home, calling down the hollow world and horns of bones. Perhaps the night ship, starship will bring us back and never ride out more. I never wrote from here before. Today's the last day of my life. I knew it from the moment I awoke and saw sunlight on the small brass vase. And what is true is that which never was. Now is the last hour of my life, I assure you. I rush back, midnight, I rush back to you. I was a cascade of laughter once. I was a trader in knives, a London urchin, someone's lost shoe. This, alas, is the last minute of my life. It must be simple. It must be raw. Sunlight strikes our small brass vase, and the moonlight too. And what is true is that which never was. Next poem's by Gregory Corso, my favorite of the beat poets. It's called Leaky Lifeboat Boys. Waiting for the world and not themselves to die, they scheme upon getting out of this life alive. Dead? We couldn't make it out of Hoboken yet. They don't trust death. It's a gimmick, they say, fogged on them by that most unreliable of species, humankind. Humans unanimously agree, in time we all must die. They disagree. To them, death's the oldest, shadiest gossip in Planet Town. Their Christian parents believed their deaths would get them out. There was heaven, there was purgatory, even hell. Any of those three spelled out. Sheer lunacy, these cats harp. If you want to get somewhere, you get there alive. Dead, you're up Schitt's Creek. These men, these darling bastards, are educated enough to know it be the living, not the dead, that go to all those dreamed of places, bound and unbound, say, distant Proxima Centauri via rocket hurl, or instant Earth via out the window. These darling men, ever getting older, are insufferably earthbound, claiming the planet, like the human body, is a leaky lifeboat, and with a twinge of urgency cry, it's bailout time, man, we gotta mutate. The desire to mutate mutates. 'Tis the fuel of evolution, this desire, you see. It's not that they want to live forever, it's that they believe they are forever. It's just the form they're in and on that's deathable. They view the prophets of liftoff with understandable envy. Just look at Elijah, Muhammad, Enoch, the others. They made the out of here alive. Out of those three leaky lifeboat boys, only one is of a considerate nature, wondering how the planet, as well as all of us, can make it out of this motherfucker here alive. Give it up for Mark Brown.
Oh, hey guys.
a stool.
Sure.
I don't know, I like to sit more. I can't match your fanaticism. It's out of this world, really, but okay. I gotta sit down still. So my name's Mark, and almost all of you know me here. And I met Manners, Stedmond, when I was 22 years old, I want to say, and I knew Dave. And I've never in my life witnessed artistry at that point. I was a very introverted person. But Manners, Stedmond recognized me that perhaps I had some type of artistic quality that I needed to pursue. So he introduced me to a lot of things that he had been researching at the time, artists and poets, musicians and writers. And I started to try and keep a journal. He suggested that I keep a journal to write down my thoughts. I grew up in a very clinically established, I guess you could say, Canadian home. We grew up in sports, always to be tough and to capture and shield your emotions. So I started writing. And I haven't written in a long, long time. What I'm going to write or read for you is stuff that I have written with Manners, things that I've never read before. I've never read this to anyone. I've never written aloud any of the work that I've ever done. And it's just a little part of me that I thought I would share, because Stedmond asked me to share it. So I'm going to share it with you. My God, he's good. And I feel sorry for anyone who isn't here who had the chance to miss this. This is a poem by Stedmond and myself. We used to write, and then I would take a turn writing, and he would take a turn writing, and I'm just going to open with this. I've made a promise to an angel. Was it Lucifer or a heavenly fellow, whom spoke with incredible wisdom of that which is unknown? The manipulation of the soul is the greatest of sin, he spoke. And spirits are telling me you're down to your last straw. The devil exists, and so does God. And if you break this chance, your gifts from God will all be taken away from you. What say you to that? Ha! I say it that by I or my say nothing. I mean everything and everything's an incestuous brother raining down upon all of the dangerous creatures playing possum. My rabid dog is now unmuzzled. My starving inner animal has been cruelly provoked and is being unconsciously forced out of its faux ivory cage. Difficult actress, wayward monks, becoming loose and scary. Oh, lost solar system of pregnant planets giving birth. Everyone standing on the gallows, everything in this life's neck is laying upon the chopping block. Lo, the guillotine, nomadic settlers, everything is a double-edged sword. Everything, lo, everything may be protected by a holy shield, lest my faith be thwarted, and my purity that I may yield long drawn-out animal life, evolving into spiritual form to play the game of a human being. Crystal owls and dream state angels, and orgies of men and women flashing black star nipples, washed away by purity that disappears after tempestuous beings of my existence parlay themselves into eventual madness. Lo, lo, I've been dragging my purity through the dirt, and I've emerged near and beyond immaculate, talking to walking trees and plants. At the drowning of an imitable dusk, I bear all of the marks, but I don't possess the disease. That's by myself and Stedmond. from March 2011. And this is a collection of some of the work that I've done over the years. I've never written this, and this is thanks to your inspiration. Mr. Manners, devil standards, written answers. I've known you, spoken truth, and witnessed cancers. If you want to know, let me recollect. Follow me and follow me. The Beatles' number ones. A well-lit room with a grinder balcony. I'm sorry, my friend, as I look at you and listen. The whole time I was saying sorry. Jim Morrison, Epic Cats, David Bowie, Brent's Girlfriend's Flats, The Social, remember that? I looked at you dancing with that smile, clapping hands, Alex right, Mark not right. Montage. More of this, more of the same, more madness, feeling very, very plain. More sanctuary in drugs and deceit, much, much more sanctuary. Are you good, man? Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. There's still goods. Then pause for a minute there and come back to me. The sadness is potent. Where? It still follows me. That beautiful sadness, the full empathy. I'll try to tell you, who watcher who reads, I've searched for the secret. I've gone to the deep. I miss my grandma, you know? Lovely Lady Fair. Baby and Bubba. I miss a full head of hair. There's nothing but white lies and powerful beams. A caduceus snake. The full tantric leaves. Classical poetry is so far beyond, it seems. Have you ever read it? Baudelaire? For Christ's sakes, John Keats, have you ever read it? I've ridden more than 12 hours straight on my motorcycle in thunderstorms. I couldn't think of anything except the tears on my cheeks. I went to see Dean, you know, the ghost of cool. I've got a soul I need to be in touch with. I need to keep it, I said. However bleak, I'm trying to keep it. Do you know anything about toxicity? I wish my phone had more batteries in it. Staring into a fire with people trying to bond. There has to be something more. I want to take a flaming 2x4 and hit you in the face. A lonely European girl sat across from me with her posture crossed, looking down and bored. The two to the right cling to their relationship. My mom stays at home watching television, estranged. The fire crackles, the music plays. Isn't there anything more, Jim? Hey, Jimmy boy? Is everybody in? I couldn't commit to the only life. Am I destined for worse than you? I'm sad. I miss you. I say it all the time and I don't know why. I still don't know why. I miss you. I look to my memories or people I've known, but nothing ever fits. I miss you. Do you know what it feels like to be used to everything? Everything you see and feel and touch subsiding? Things that you've been through too much? A good father took care of his daughter. I smile and take a breath. Baby boomers bred so many misfits we can't find jobs for. You know, I sometimes read books of nature and knowledge and profound instances. Dostoevsky, Notes from the Underground, given to me by a rumorous poet, Manners or Stedmond Pardy, or something else entirely if he plays his cloaked self right. A beer, a piano music. Enjoy, everything's good so far? What is all that searching for life? Where is all the living, the testing, God? So immaculate art thou, so impeccable without said, gods and goddesses practicing magic. Where art thou? I suppose I'm rambling. I am who I am because I was brought this way. It found me, I didn't find it. So what? Whatever. Money talks. I've been billed 150 times too. Those motherfuckers. Law system intelligent? La 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 la. Musical interlude. Boldly living doesn't exist anymore. It's far too expensive. Anyone introduced to it has done something poetically murky to be begotten of it. And I know what it is too. Oh, don't kid yourself. I know what it is. I know. Only the poor can manage the virtues without the oppressor. I escaped. Or you remind me of Angelina Jolie in a shroud of darkness, an angel in black, seeking stature, adult impressions of love, strength, beauty, power, intellect, a child holding your hand, piano keys one by one. You remind me of a time where I should have been innocent, but knew what was creeping up on me, waiting. Spring fountains and pulled out grass, you remind me of a time when my heart desperately wanted to beat in full rhythm, to explode with blood, but it whispered quietly, ba-dum, ba-dum. All of the misshapen ships have none whatsoever. The faded Ramyanas and the chicks who hold their aggression in stretch poses, the belligerent eccentricities of folded religion. I've seen gays and I've seen straights holding hands. I've seen children amazed in an illusion. Jazz songs. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I miss the thought of you. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Now I'm cloaked in black in a leather jacket and jeans so low. So just tell me, boy, is it sleep time down south, or is it above we go? I've been in crack houses and drug dealer dens. I've moved pieces of furniture for a place in line at the end. I've been arrested. I've been in... I'm semi-spooked now. Look at the sound of a lot of people talking a million conversations at once, or an orthopedic surgeon fitting his first patient for a back brace. A long drawn-out sigh between lovers who don't quite fit. Booze-induced relaxation, counterfeit money, happiness laced with hatred, wealth to mass tears, angel dust. Chotch, cocaine, Mike Manners, poetry. What the fuck stars are really made of? Peacekeeping armadas that build war machines. Glue, bandages. Art being the new fashion and fashion is the new cool. Cool being anything and everything in the right circles. Walnut trees, existentialism, World of Warcraft, professional gaming, StarCraft 2, blissful knowingness, meaningful ignorance, Dorian Gray, Jabba the Hutt, power, protection, youth, vigorous solitude, kindness, humility, being taken advantage of all the fucking time. Death, seer, me, you, and your first pet that taught you to cope with loss. I'm not going to be done at 12, she said, and I'm back. I'm back again. I know heaven when an honest, working, plain-dressed 40-year-old man who never really made it travels home on the streetcar with his brand new, completely earned 2010 computer and awaits the moments alone with his online comrades and feels joy, friendship, and peace. I know heaven when a young, beautiful woman is talking to an interesting new boy on the hip city streets, and instead of almost giving him her phone number, thinks of the old boy she'd been seeing for a year and tells him, I better not, and leaves him with a smile. I know heaven when friends of opposite sexual persuasion, race, creed, are completely free to be themselves. I know heaven when a man prays to God and asks for forgiveness and help. I know heaven when greeted with hugs and joyous smiles by all the special angels who can fly in the dark. I know heaven when a mother wishes her son a good day and a father knows praise. I know heaven when raptured with trance of melody and song, or a conjured gesture, or a brush stroke, or a poem. I know hell when I see affection and desire in someone's eyes, but I can't give the same. I know hell when I've sinned against others and I'm the only one to blame. I know hell when I read the words, we worship power. I know hell when I masturbate to my lost loves in the shower. I know hell when suffering turns into pain. I know hell when pain turns to anguish and the devil wins claim. I know hell when I'm tempted ever closer to drugs and drink to know the consequences of a delightful mistake. I know not for sure of this world of its endless possibilities and lies. I know not for sure of a mansion in the clouds in the sky. I know not for sure of a pitchfork being plotted to turn those to his beliefs. I only know that there's something inside of us that makes us believe. I wish I knew the key word necessary to crack the spell which binds you. The fragrant flowers, what could it be? Ulysses, perhaps? Remember Aladdin? Open says me. Open palms and annoyance at the first drop of family. Such kinship which binds us. Equal suffering and blood-soaked madness, hilarity, madness, pain, sex, wonder, seeking wrathful solace in others. Imagine the creation of beings we couldn't hope to be, but those which do not exist. Only through us in soap-filled light, and black and bright. A violin's tune. Yeah, not a piano or a plucked string, a stroked one. A fondled son, a blanket, no one, not anyone, but no one, just anything, but someone. Always tantalizing me at the tip of my tongue. One night, one conversation, one kiss, a blessed bliss, an unblessedness, church bells kiss. But always wherever I go, I find a secret in plain sight, the one which calls to me, even though I am faithful to another. Questions, more depths, more layers. Who are you for, lady who has taken so many before me? Princess of worn gifts, princess of all that could have been, but drowned in drunken drinks and drugs, partying devils dancing in nightclubs, beaten and scarred woman whose beauty still shines and rears its damaged face while in heat, my perfect love from a decade in the future and a lifetime in my past. I want to call out for you, but instead must be strong, must cultivate my growing manhood with you. My manhood, my pirate shroud, evil, wicked manhood. As you see me cling ever so tightly to my childhood, my morbid, docile heart to help inspire others while I slip. Yeah, the slided sound, not the violin or the piano, the one where they're both weeping. That's it. Thank you.
Give it up for Mark Brown. It takes a lot of balls to shed the white blood of your soul in front of an audience. It's going to be a tough act to follow. You're going to show me up on my own show, man? Alright. I guess I'll lighten it up a little bit. This is a love poem I wrote to Joan Baez. My most known poem. It's the one that got me on the radio and shit, so try to get into it. It feels as if I knew you in a past life. You could have been my sister, enemy, lover, mother, girlfriend, ruler or wife. All I know is that you're definitely a kindred spirit. But I can't remember us and our families dying from the plague, us being crucified upon the most crookedest of crosses, whoring ourselves on the cobblestone streets of Mallestrana. Prague, I don't remember the love and stimulating pain that we experienced outside the Dali Museum in Figueres. Spain, witnessing the tomato and bullfights through the eyes of a drugged and drunken baby's brain, clay labyrinthian coffin green chrysalis black, the mysteries at Eloise's, facing the firing squad on a warm summer night, walking a radio around a strangled stick, the Garden of Eden, the black-hooded executioner's shiny axe, at the haunted Tower of London, concretizing liquid, wet leather, Arquetabassus, wordless poems, us having blonde hair and blue eyes, while living in Helsingborg, Sweden, the torture chambers of Venice, and the Middle East, us devouring bootleg liquor, gnawing hallucinogenic roots and berries, beaming up to an inaccessible land of Bergelmeers, Asuras, Oceanids, and fairies, while picnicking in Central Park, New York, in the 1320s, hiding from the pork, moments of realization, really divining what sits on the other end of that fork. Me telling you, if anything were to happen to me, or if I was to go, don't forget me, Joan Baez, because even if I was locked in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's, there's no way I could ever forget about you and our time as dinosaurs, leopards, insects, snakes, birds, monkeys, pandas, foxes, sloths, elephants, butterflies, penguins, Neanderthals, bacteria, trees, and fish, and the extended time we spent as a dying kid's wish You can't even remember rogue zookeepers in Auschwitz, Mesopotamia, the floating world of Japan. When the black ships came, the Rugit liqueur, mists invading our ravaged forests, and the exploding plastic inevitable, you can't remember red clouds, white skies, silver waters, black sand, gold moons, us being lynched by the Klan, crossing the Bering Strait, walking the plank, the basement of Studio 54, African tribal drums whipping us and our now extinct tribe into shamanic ecstasy as celebrations of prelogical existence, the loneliest monk, Shoe Bearer, Darlene Shrug, Slim Twig, Duke Ellington, The Stooges, The Doors, Guns N' Roses, and Sonic Youth live in the flesh, Nick Beat, Brandon Pitts, Mark Brown, Reg Hart, Dave Wang, The Lonely Vagabond, and the Renaissance of the 2200s, the Resistance, the human being of 1967, Pink Floyd's Games for May, and that awkward life when I was the woman and you were the man. We've existed as casualties of the subhuman psyche since the very beginning of the idea of time. I've already squandered the platinum of our youth in this life. What do you think I'm going to do to the blood diamonds of our future? Ah. I can clearly remember the nebulous vistas of our lunar Earth, us self-exiling ourselves along the seashores of that other world, studying the heraldry of Finfolk. David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails touring together in 1995, the St. John, St. Vitus Dancing Mania 1518, you dating Steve Jobs and Bob Dylan, and you locking arms with me after your performance at Roy Thompson Hall. Thank you. This is a poem I got from a dream. It's called Stair Lifts. It's very rare that you wake up with a whole poem written that you got from a dream, so here it goes. Let's dig each other while we're both alive. Let's dig each other while Lady Luck is still on our side. Let's dig each other while we can still walk, unaided, while our mobility is still unlimited. While we still possess the gifts of sight and sound, let's fucking dig one another, whilst we still got all of our thick, lustrous hair. While we still have all of our teeth, let's dig each other before we need wheelchairs, stair lifts, cane swords, and depends. Before we have to experience the inevitable transitions of our family, extended family, members, associates, and friends, let's dig each other before cancer, strokes, and osteoporosis, and the possible attack of our broken hearts. Let's dig one another before Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia, before cirrhosis of the liver, hey, before back problems, joint pain, kidney failure, wrinkles, and eventual decay. Oh God, I know something better lays beyond. We know something better lays beyond, but let's dig each other before someone prettier, sexier, younger, funnier, cooler, smarter, exotic, and richer comes along. Let's dig one another before World War III. No matter what assails us up ahead, no matter my vile or golden fate, before Anubis, Osiris, Ammit, and our lost saints await, dig me, while we still possess a recipe for the seed/salt of platinum and gold, while we can still witness the beautiful colors of the forest in your flask. Dig me, despite Ebola, tainted sustenance, coercion, and the measles. Dig me, despite the male factors, psychopaths, and other parasites ruling our planet, and mutant strains of the flu, despite the Frankensteins of intelligence agencies, despite beached whales, and the spirits of drowned women who bewitch and drown lonesome passing men, despite the catalog of horrors, their studied indifference, your self-doubt, and the seemingly unending, degrading fucking hassle, despite packed subway trains at rush hour, and walking, leafless, snow-covered trees, and the million advertisements attempting to make us feel inadequate. Let's dig each other while we are all alive. Let's dig one another whilst Lady Luck is still on our side. I got my last cover of the night. This is the cat, beautiful Robin Hood-like figure stole me his collected poems. So it's I'm gonna read a poem by Allen Ginsberg. I think I got a jaded idea of what poetry should be from coming across him. So it's a poem he wrote to his dead aunt. So this is called To Aunt Rose. Aunt Rose, now, might I see you with your thin face and buck-toothed smile and pain of rheumatism and the long black heavy shoe for your bony left leg, limping down the long hall in Newark on the running carpet, past a black grand piano, in the day room where the parties were, and I sang Spanish loyalist songs in a high squeaky voice, hysterical, the committee listening while you limped around the room, collected the money, Aunt Honey, Uncle Sam, a stranger with the cloth arm in his pocket and huge young bald head, of Abraham Lincoln Brigade, your long, sad face, your tears of sexual frustration, what smothered sobs and bony hips under the pillows of Osborne Terrace, the time I stood on the toilet seat naked and you powdered my thighs with calamine against the poison ivy, my tender and shamed first curled black hairs. What were you thinking in secret heart then, knowing me a man already, and I, an ignorant girl of family silence, standing on the thin pedestal of my legs in the bathroom? Museum of Newark, Aunt Rose, Hitler is dead. Hitler is in eternity. Hitler is with Tamerlane and Emily Bronte. Though I see you walking still, a ghost on Osborne Terrace, down the long dark halls to the front door, limping a little with a pinched smile, in what must have been a silken flower dress, welcoming my father, the poet on his visit to Newark, seeing you arriving in the living room, dancing on your crippled leg and clapping hands his book had been accepted by Livrite. Aunt Rose, Hitler is dead, and Livrite's gone out of business. The attic of the past and everlasting minute are now gone out of print. Uncle Harry has sold his last silk stocking. Claire has quit interpretive dancing school. And Grandma sits a wrinkled monument in old ladies' home blinking at new babies. Last time I saw you was the hospital. A pale skull protruding under ashen skin. Blue-veined unconscious girl in an oxygen tent. The war in Spain has ended long ago, Aunt Rose. The war is over. And 2 more poems, and you have to go be a flood of gold on the streets. I wasn't gonna do it, but why not? It's a poem about walking down Yonge Street. I was grotesquely hungover one day, and the sky seemed like a coffin looming over me. Since come back from San Francisco, I do love Toronto a little bit, maybe appreciate that much more, but at the time, no more. I won't write any more poems denouncing Toronto, but this is my only one. Toronto, my bereaved Marie, I loved you once. I loved you like Woody Allen loved Manhattan. Oh, Yonge Street, I can't say I hold that same sentiment today. We were of one flesh once. When I sauntered up and down you when I was younger, heaven was truly mine. Heaven for me was to be found in the very midst of you. Some of my fondest memories, some of my fondest, most cherished memories of the times I cut class and wandered around you by myself like Diogenes with his lantern lit in the daytime in search of an honest man. With only my allowance or hoarded Christmas and birthday money in my pockets, if I was lucky, sometimes even a joint. Like I said, man, heaven seemed mine, with all of the people new to my rookie eyes, the stores, the restaurants, bars, and the scents made all the more sweet by the fact that I wasn't technically allowed to be downtown by myself. I felt like a Nazi-looted Matisse and a headless angel. Without wings back then, Young Street, I felt an emotion that is actually impossible to define. Is it truly better to be king for a night than a schmuck for a lifetime? The King of Comedy, for me, is one of the greatest black comedies of all time. Have you seen it? In your cruel, moist, indifferent palm, I commended my eternal spirit. Now the pleasures of this planet aren't enough. I was alone back then, Young Street. As I mentioned, I'm alone right now, although I don't want to be. Should I see a psychic? I've already passed 3. What will you look like in 2063? What robust, exhilarating joy would have been mine, despite the fact that I'm colored, if I could have strolled down you in the year 1923. If quantum theorists are right, then everyone who has ever walked down this street, and everyone who will ever walk down this street, is walking down this street holding my hand right now. The sky is a brilliant baby blue, without a single cloud. The sun is rising to its zenith. My mindscape is full of stubby arms reaching out of the cement, grasping for the charred skeletons of the constellations of stars. Shut the fuck up, Young Street. Jihad me at hello. That was actually the ridiculous headline that greeted me from the cover of today's paper. I can't make this shit up. I am living. I have lived. I live like a deposed king and a beached whale. My glittering throat blazed like a berry of solace and a trinket of joy. Young Street, I just passed an aggressive panhandler hoisting up a cardboard sign that says, "Need money for question mark." And I wonder how much money he'll get at the end of the day. What the fuck is with all the upcoming condoms? How can you justify your outrageous cost of living? Why are bats dying by the millions and bees by the billions? Why? Why are you dolling yourself up like a cut rate Times Square? It's 2016, my love. 'Tis the April of our prime. And I'm just strutting down one of the world's longest streets, which just happens to be you. Thank you. This last one of the day, I wrote after seeing the opera Madame Butterfly, but was put together when I was at the reference library, costed by international students, but it all comes together in here. It's in 3 parts, so please don't boo me or cheer until after the 3 parts are done. Actually 4. Madame Butterfly once left my mid-90s cell phone in his coke dealer's car. 'Twas her flaws that Cupided me, and I didn't even know them yet. Part 2. I was duped, I tell you, or my judgment was impaired when I agreed to come back to this planet, unless it was to be with you. Your recent tornado has ripped apart my Kansas. I sit, entombed in the Toronto Reference Library, flipping through the journals of Heath Herring by a rain-stained window, picturing you, bare-shouldered, in a purple orchard, swathed in the unbearable light of a rising sun, cheering obnoxiously for a game already over. A peregrine falcon still shackled to a shimmering fountain, a Conestoga wagon, a 60-legged creature biting into green onions as if they were blue apples, nibbling the chase crumbs of illusion, a solo band, a recently awakened somnambulist skipping along the cylindrical sands of my beach that doesn't even exist, an elephant caught in a hammock, an elephant caught in a hammock, a sports star mocking a disabled girl's selfie, or the insatiable offspring of the Blob. I picture you Alas, as a pirate from the tropics, captaining your hole-filled boat across my winter sea, I imagine you as 100 sprinting people, evolving into a walking, leafless, snow-covered tree made out of olive-soaked, combustible oak, until a group of cackling international students stab a few pins in the waterbed of my imaginings. I look out the rain-stained window on the 4th floor of the Toronto Reference Library to catch the sight of 2 planes colliding in mid-air. Our laurels are only lettuce green for a season. A season. Our previously discovered pioneers are gyrating wholesomely along the uncharted waters of the new frontier. Our undelivered pizzas contain no MSG and no added trans fat. Like the Count of Saint Germain, Madame of Butterfly, your spirit will never be a mustache Pete. Mustache Petes are old, stale gangsters. They're all wiped out by the new generation. When bootlegging came around, just so you guys know what I'm talking about there. Alright. Part 3. If only Madame of Butterfly would cease complaining things have altered. Nothing is the same, cries she. What use am I telling this bitch that the oldest existing piece of human writing begins with this sentence? Things are not what they used to be. Madame of Butterfly sits kissing my cold gold wall, while I sit brooding, hushed and heavy. So many are sick, she cries. So many are sick, cries she. And the best, Stedmond, well, the best are soon to be. Part 4. Study, revolt, struggle, success. We shed our ineffable raiments of tormented flesh, and Queen Street West morphed into a ballet at rush hour, as badly aging pop stars declaring the actual divinity of the fair-limbed harpies, genius enough to dig me, were being haunted by the insatiable ghosts of groupies past during the desperate, retributive hour, in which I magiced your sceptered beast. A few years ago we sprinted. I sped blindly into the belly of it, of whom you are still crawling out. I know the shivering narcissus of a yellow afternoon, wielding the parched dagger of mummified winter under the deflatable sun unrisen. I best friended the brooding, jubilant animals, punctured longing, managing their feeble perceptions, ascending the white skies with rolling, merging black clouds like Enoch upon a fiery, barbed, stained glass deep. I'm sorry, my fellow tribesmen, who have gifted me more than I ever thought I could need. I'm adventuring home empty-handed from the hunt. I learned the mysteries of the red gold under the untamed tutelage of the companion of nymphs. I know a burnt child appeared of the long extinguished fire's flame. I've learned study, revolt, struggle, success. We shed our ineffable raiments of tormented flesh on the night of a blue moon, and nakedly we roam the star-domed flight, vulnerable to everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming.
Good job, man. Good.
Thank you, Kat, for coming out. You cats could have did anything on Sunday, but you came to thank me and Mark, so
I think so.
for that I'm grateful.
You here for this?
Yeah. I'm gonna pick up some.
Okay. Thank you.